Hey, Dawn Osborne here. I have got a secret for you on today's podcast, and I really want to share it with you. And it's something that I was doing all along, and it was the secret to some of the successes in my life, but I didn't know how important it was until I saw some of the big guns doing it. And I'm going to share with you what that secret is today on this podcast. So keep listening. I can imagine you're all busting to find out what the secret is. And when you hear what this is, you'll just be like, oh, I might be already doing that. So, what is it? What is the secret that saved my life? I'm going to share it right now. But first, I want to share a story with you. I've been sharing a few of these podcasts. If you're listening, if you go back a few, you'll listen. I'm starting to talk about emotional healing and about pain in the body and how emotions affect the body. And so in my personal journey, some of you might know, I got diagnosed with an incurable disease in my early 30s. And the doctors basically said, you're going to have to change your whole life. And it was in that pivotal moment that I had to take my wellness, my health, my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit, everything seriously. Because that old saying, you don't value something until you've lost it. Well, that was me. I lived a life where I thought I was invincible and I would last forever until I actually lost my health. And it's like anything, you can't replace your health, but you can replace a car, a job, but your health is something that money can't buy. And so I really kind of had an epiphany at this point in my life and just basically decided that I would, do some non-negotiables. In fact, it was out of my hands. I had no control of it. It was either make some massive changes in your world or else you're going to pay the price. And what was my price is that I would be limited by this incurable disease if I didn't make these drastic changes. And so this secret, so when I started to study other people and people who were successful in their health and their wellness, one of these big influencers, someone who's influenced me, I've watched their journey for many, many years, was actually Tony Robbins. And I know that Tony Robbins has some secrets of his own, which he shares. And he talks about habits, rituals, or routines. Now, unbeknownst to me, that I was already a habit person. I was already a routine person. But as I got sick, some of my habits and my routines had to change. And as you know, habits are quite hard to break, especially if they've been ingrained into you and you've done them, all your life. But it's only when something majorly bad happens, like to me, that it was like, no, I have to create new habits because the current set of habits are just not working for me. They're not effective in my life. They were ineffective. They were actually making me worse. So for example, I wouldn't be still. I'd be just go running on adrenaline. I wouldn't sit and kind of visualize or meditate. My exercises whenever I felt like it. My eating, my gosh, I ate on the run. I didn't think about nutrition, my body had been so well for so long that I never even thought about food. I just put whatever was close to my hand, whichever convenience. I ate on convenience. So if it was at my hand, I didn't have to cook it for 2 hours or whatever. I would just eat it. And I used to like reading, but I didn't read, an awful lot. And, I definitely didn't write much because I was so busy building my online empire at the time. I was, as I said before, I was selling online products and I was obsessed with that, and I had 4 little kids, so my life was just consumed by all these habits that were not, they weren't working for me. And so when you listen to Tony Robbins talking about it, it's really important to have habits that are effective and routines that are effective for your life. So what did I want to share with you today? So the number one secret which saved my life was reestablishing habits that were effective, that were going to keep me well, were going to keep me healthy, were going to keep me balanced. And I found this example. Now, I think I got it off online, or I was listening to kind of a podcast from someone else, or a video actually. I might have been a video, and that talks about savers. And this is an acronym. And so I wanted to share with you this acronym today. And this acronym, these savers are actually going to help you in your wellness. So, give you a healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul. All right, so I'm going to share with you what this savers is. So S is for silence and meditation. So it is my, when you're a super busy mum, where you've got 4 kids who are running havoc, you've got a business and you've got a lot of demand on you. There is not a lot of time for you to create silence and stillness in your world. And so once I was sick and I knew I had to make some drastic changes in my world, I actually knew that I had to find some quiet space in my life. For me, that looks like prayer. I'm a prayer. I pray and I meditate on good, wholesome things that is going to create good stuff in my life. And so I used to, I initiated finding silence, peace, meditation, prayer, and that really worked for me. A is for affirmational declaration. So I had in my situation, I was chronically sick, but that's not where I was staying. I wasn't going to stay sick or unhappy or sad. I was actually, in my mind, I was passing through. I am not staying here in this situation. This sickness, illness was not going to define me as a person or my, my motherhood. And so I used to write down and decree and declare what I wanted, not what I didn't want, what I wanted. So I will be fit, I will be healthy, I'll be strong. I'll be able to run with my kids. I mean, when I was at my worst point, I couldn't even cut a piece of bread. I could not even, like, if my joints was so inflamed, if one of the kids touched my toe, it would be like someone had dropped a 5-kilo weight on it. It was just excruciating. And so when you're in that situation, it's quite easy to drop into hopelessness. But I had to put these savers into my life, these savers habits into my life, and these routines that would start to get me out of the pit that I found myself. All right. V was visualization. I used to visualize myself happy, healthy, fit. I mean, I couldn't go up flights of stairs without puffing. I couldn't push a shopping trolley. If I would go out for one day, I'd go do the shopping and I would be in bed for a couple of days because of the intensity. Even now, sometimes when I'm doing the shopping, I have a memory of what it used to be like pushing the trolley after it was full of shopping. It used to nearly wipe me out just to go from the shopping center to the car. And that's how sick I was. So when I was like that, I used to visualize myself fit and healthy. I would see myself well. All right, E is for exercise and nutrition. So obviously I started to exercise when I felt a little bit healthier, but my nutrition, I recognized that what I was putting in my body was it was junk. It was not, it wasn't real energy, source of energy. It was just, quick food that would not give me the energy that I needed. And so I needed to study food and I needed to study nutrition, and I changed my diet. So R is for reading. And so during this season of my life, when I was transitioning out of this sickness into full health, I used to read a lot about your mindset. I used to pray a lot and read the word. I mean, I'm a woman of faith, so I used to, read the word, and there's so many promises in the Bible, and I used to read them, and I used to believe them, and so I started to get into faith that, I believed that I was going to be well and healthy, and that's exactly what happened. S in Savers is Scruff for Scribe, and it's for writing. And so in this season, I started to write daily about what I used to journal, where I was at with my mind, with my health, with my walk, my purpose, my calling, who am I? And it was a transition. I was transitioning out of something that was sick, unwell, in pain, depressed, hopeless, on the verge of suicide. And these are the habits that I had to put in my life so that I could see hope. So through these habits made me start to see hope, because hope is something that's looks and feels in the distance. You haven't got your hands on it yet. And so all of these things used to give me a picture of who I was becoming, not where I was right now, but who I was becoming. And I started to go on the journey. And this is the journey of my healing. And I don't know if any of you know this, but if you're listening for the first time, I actually got that incurable disease, that diagnosis, which was an autoimmune disease, which they, couldn't even really give me a name for. They said it was sarcoid, and it would be in my system forever. I actually went back a few years later and got a report from the doctors, and that entire autoimmune disease, there was not one piece of evidence in my blood that it was there. So I was cured. But some of these habits I'm talking about is the secret to saving you. All right, so let's go through them again. So S is for you need to find silence, you need to meditate. A is you need to affirm and declare who you are over your life and what you want. V is for visualization, you need to see yourself where you want to be. Exercise, you need to take your exercise and your nutrition seriously. You are what you eat. Whatever you put in is the fuel. You need to put in good fuel. If you had a really amazing sports car, a Maserati, you're not going to put a dodgy old fuel in. You're going to put the best fuel in. Well, you guys are way above and beyond a Maserati. You are, you're a created being that needs to run at its full capacity. And if you're not running at your full capacity, I need to ask you, what are you putting inside your body? Okay, R is for reading. Make sure you read, find people who are ahead of you. Find people who've got what you want and figure out how they got it. All right. And this is one of the things that I did. I looked at successful people who were, who had health and wellness and who were successful in all areas of their life. And I studied them, and I modeled some of my behaviors on what they were telling me to do, and it worked. And that's what I'm doing for you guys today. I'm saying, you need to create effective habits. So reading, and then the last one is S. You need to write, and you need to journal, and you need to journal your journey out, especially if you're in emotional pain and you've come through some events that have caused you some sadness, and you want to come out of that. It's good to write. It's good to journal your emotions. Get them out on a piece of paper, and that will help you in your healing process. And so there it is. There is my secret to my success of, one of the secrets to my success of my healing. So, my question to you guys today is, in this podcast is, I want you to think about the savers, the habits, the saver habits. And I want you to, at least start to think about what habits are currently ineffective in your life. All right. What is not working for you? Are you doing habits that are not good for you? Are you sitting and binge eating? Are you not exercising? Are you a CEO that's just verging on burnout? You're going to have to make some changes. And so use this SAVERS acronym and start to apply some changes in your world, because trust me, this stuff works. I've been through that valley. I've come out the other side, and these things work. And if you apply them, this means nothing. If you listen to this podcast and you don't do anything, well, nothing's going to change. You're going to stay exactly where you are. A massive action needs to be applied in your life to get the results that you want to get. There's no good reading it, listening to all the podcasts and watching all the videos and never actually applying any of those things in your life. So my challenge to you today is you need to apply at least all of those into your life, and start to create these rituals and these routines that are going to bring you into the fullness of wellness of your mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. All right, there you go, guys. That was just my my secret that I wanted to share with you. If you liked this, loved it, share it, send it to someone who you think it will help. Otherwise, the entry point, the next step for you guys is I'd love to be able to give you my my Finding Fearless guide. It's a free downloadable version. If you're interested, go find me on Facebook, Dawn Osborne Fearless Women, or you can find me on dawnosborne.com, or you can, where else can you find me? You can find me on Instagram, fearlesscoaching.com. You can find me everywhere. Just Dawn Osborne Coaching, Fearless Coaching. You'll find, Google me. You'll find me, and I have that free guide, and I'd love for you to have it. So you have an amazing day, and I will catch you on the next podcast. Bye.